everybody. Right, short video tonight, because it's started getting into evening now, early evening. What it is if you remember on one of my previous videos, I installed the VFD controlled 800 watt air-cooled spindle. Absolutely brilliant piece of kit for this 4040 Pro. However, what I have found with it, and I did, if you remember, I did and I'll just get you that. Oh. And I did the commando dagger, if you remember, 3D model. Came out absolutely fantastic. And believe it or not, you can see the thinness of the blade there. If you want to watch the video on that, just look for it. And whilst I was doing that, some of the machining were quite lengthy, and because I couldn't put the dust shoe on, I was videoing it somewhat. You end up with, because it's air cooled, you end up with a problem. Well, it's not a problem, it's sort of, a lot of people won't bother about it, but it bothers me. If you look at me, all my my spindles that I have, I've got a separate unit. I have for the VFD that I control the motor through, the spindles control through that. The 500 watt spindle, I did a separate unit for that, so I could control the speed separately. I don't do it through the software. I like to be self-contained, it's within itself. It's just how I work. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Some people like to work it through the software. I'm not doing that. And with the new offline controller, the NymoLabs or NymoLabs offline controller, you can actually control the spindle speed through there. That's the spindle, quite heavy unit, well made, ultra quiet really compared to the spindles. Right, as you can see there, it has the inlet for the air to pass through. It draws air in through there. There's a fan which draws it in, and then it pushes it down the body to keep it cool, and it comes out of here. You can see a space all the way around. That, it's like a shield. It comes down past the motor and cools it. Okay. However, when I took this off today, I noticed that, and I don't know whether you can see inside there. I don't know that light will allow you to see it, but you can see the residue on the fan, and I've blown it out. Of dust that it draws in. Unavoidably, you get that in the atmosphere. Even when you're machining, even with the dust shoe on, you will get dust in the atmosphere. This draws it in, and I didn't like that, because I noticed it all around here, where it's picked it up, taken it in, and then blown it down and out of here. So it's actually taking it from the atmosphere that you're in, and then drawing it through here and then blowing it back out at you. So I didn't like that. So hence I've created a cap on top that fits on with, believe it or not, a filter. Okay, that's what's on. That's it. No more dust getting entrenched in here. And believe me, it takes some blowing out. When I put the compressed air down it with the nozzle, the dust that came out of here was quite bad. But this had been machining, some shades, 17 hours constant. I left it running. It was a very, very fine pass that I was doing with a 1mm ball nose. I think it was about 8% overlap. So it was going to be going a long time. 17 hours it was on. It never faltered, this thing. However, the dust that it picked up in there was quite bad. When I blew it, I was quite shocked. So that's just a cap, and all it is some filter material that I use for my fish tank, for my marine tank, and I use for all my filters on my fans in the separate control boxes for this motor, the VFD, and for the 500 watt spindle. Okay, it just clips off. That's the shape of it. You just cut it, put it on. There you go. Job's a good one. That alleviates that problem. Okay, right. The first one, it's like that when it's printed. I'll show you it being printed. I'll put a video in, time lapse from the printer. Right, here we are at the printer, and there you can see one. It's just finished. It's cooled down, so it releases itself, and you can see it's printed exceptionally well. That's about it. It slits over the top cowling, the plastic cowling of the spindle, and your filters underneath. Easy to change. I've got a spare now. I will put a short time lapse in of it being printed. That's for the spindle. This is what I'm you know, it's when you've got, I'm fortunate I have 3D printers and I've CNCs and lasers, so if I want to design and make something that makes something easier or better, then it's pretty easy for me to do so. And you can see, oh, nearly dropping it, that was my first one that I did, which is that one. But I liked longer shoulders, so I knew that fit, so it was just increasing the shoulders. Okay, that's that. Simple job, finished, done. I know this now. I'll keep dust out. I just change that. Simple job. Right, back onto the second project. As I explained, when you've got 3D printers and lasers and CNCs, you can see something that needs to be better or made better. So you've a good chance of designing something to make that function more efficiently, shall I say. Now, if you go back to the NymoLabs and NymoLabs offline controller, absolutely brilliant screen. And as an offline controller, can't fault it. I'm still learning things with it, but it's one of them things is you have to suck it and see a bit first, see what you can do, and if programming wise, I've done a little bit, and I will show a video on using some of the specific macros that are already on the machine. But you don't have to go into that far. It will operate the machine to what most people are wanting. That's to run a file, set the job up and run it, and that's it. However, it's a well-made screen. The backing, it's all metal. I believe it's a little bit heavier than aluminium, but all the backing is metal, so it's machined out of a unit, a block, and then the screen is placed into it. Now, I'm taking it up from the machine. That's it on my arm. Okay, have you seen it on the machine? If you watch the video, that slides into a unit, and I can raise them higher or lower, whichever, and operate the screen. That does tilt, but it's at its maximum where I like it. It's all the back part here is machined, either aluminium or some form of metal. Don't know what it is. It's quite heavy. I presume it'd be aluminium. Then the screen's inset into it. You've got your two ports for your USB for your control to your control box of your CNC, and your USB-C type, which is the power. Okay, and round this side you've got a little micro SD card slot. Okay, really well made. However, it'd be quite easy to drop something, juggle something in your workshop, or knock something over and hit that screen. You'll smash it, which is a shame really, because the rest of it is quite robust. Even the bracket's metal. This is metal. That it comes with the offline controller. Now, as I say, I can poke that out to whatever distance I want from the machine, or raise and lower it, but I didn't like the idea that the screen is not protected. So there you go. got its own cover on. It allows you to pop the cover on, and it's quite, this is it's just PLA, is this. It's not made out of ABS or anything like that. It's just PLA. It's quite strong enough. It's only 2mm thick and 2mm walled. It's got the cutout there, so you can leave your cables in place and pop it on. And then it's a couple of little clips at the side there, and it just comes off. Alright, so when I'm using it, I put it over. You could put it over when it's operating, if you don't want dust on it or anything, but as I say, as I pointed out on the video for this offline controller, you can actually put it into mapping and you see a picture of your actual CNC cutter and what it's doing. But that's on now, so that solved the problem. It protects the screen, and I think it's something, if you don't have a 3D printer, you could make it out of a thin bit of plywood or MDF and just put some lipping around it so it sits on. Excuse me. But I would suggest, because of the nature of this screen, how well made it is, you protect that screen. Okay, because there's nothing, you might be able to get some sort of glass protector like you get on a mobile phone to put on, but it won't stop any hard knocks. I mean, I've left the actual film still on it. I don't intend to take it off, and I don't do it on any of my printers. They've all got the protective film still on them. I don't take it off. So, but that's it. So, just two jobs: the screen and the filter for the top of the motor. Two simple things, easy to do. You would more than likely need a 3D printer in order to do the filter cap for the spindle, but I'm sure you could fabricate something else with a filter. But there you go. Okay, so that's just a short video on a couple of not problems, but a couple of upgrades I felt that the machine needed, the spindle and the new screen that I've got. Watch out for the screen. A video coming up again. I'll show you some of the macros that it's got on the machine and on the offline controller, and see where we go from there. It's still a bit of a learning curve for me, but it's actually worked out pretty good, really. It was a gamble when I took to purchase it. Didn't know the quality of it, but as soon as it come, I knew there was good quality in that, and as soon as I plugged it in, it worked. So, right, don't forget, like and subscribe, and please, it doesn't cost anything. Subscribe. If you watch the video, please subscribe. It gets me numbers up. I'm actually at 999 subscribers, and it'd be brilliant if I could reach 1,000. I keep losing some, and apparently it's quite common, then they come back on, and anyway, that's where I'm at. So give me a thumbs up if you like the video. It's just a couple of upgrades, short video, and as I always say, until next time, you be safe, you be careful, and bye for now. Bye.